Robert De Niro in Raging Bull lost about 3 tons of weight just to get into the role, and then he learned how to box. He boxed loads of people in the face. He said, "I'm going to box you in the face." And he said, "Excuse me, that's assault. This is the workplace and you're boxing me in the face. You're lucky you're not in the era of phone cameras. This would be all over YouTube within minutes." And of course, Robert De Niro just says, "Oh, I'm a boxer. I became a legitimate boxer for this role, so I'm allowed to go around and punch people in the face in the workplace because I work as a boxer. So obviously in my workplace, I box. I punch people in the face." You're allowed to punch back, by the way. It's perfectly reasonable. If Robert De Niro punches you in the face at work, you're perfectly entitled to punch back. He won't take offence at it. He's a decent, fair man, I'm sure. He knows it's just art.
Into your head! IntoYourHead.ie.
Your dog's one of those pets who think you're just another dog. Does your dog think you're just another bog standard dog who's in a pack with you? Maybe they think you're their pack leader. Are you in fact a pack leader if you own and operate a pet dog? I think maybe you are. If the dog sees you as a pack leader, then you are. So yes, you are a pack leader, whether you like it or not. You're a fake and a fraud. You got this dog, and you've let it believe that you're its pack leader. If I was a dog and my pack leader started throwing sticks for me to chase, I'd be wondering what that was about. What's the benefit of having one of your fellow dogs throw a stick for you and then have you go and get it and wag your tail and come back with it in your mouth and have them take it from you in their hands? They're probably wondering why you have hands. That dog over there, my pack leader, he has hands. Why does he have hands? Will that happen to me? Am I going to sprout hands one day? And where will they come out of? Maybe they'll sprout out of my front elbows or something. And you may think a dog is ridiculous for thinking like that, but think back to when you were a very young child. So you draw a picture of your parents and you might have just drawn an egg with legs coming out of the bottom of it and hands coming out of the side. That wasn't much better than a dog would do. I know a dog doesn't draw pictures, but if it could, the dog draws pictures in its mind. It thinks, oh, this is what a person is. It's like me, but it's shaped like an egg. Now, what an egg is, I don't know, but it's shaped like an egg. And it's got hands coming out of the side, like Mr. Potato Head. There's a concept, Mr. Potato Head. It's a man who's a potato. He has a little tuft of hair on top, legs coming out of the bottom of his head, arms coming out of the side of his head, around where the ears are. Sometimes a moustache, and sometimes not necessarily looking like a potato. I don't know.
Into your head! IntoYourHead.ie.
Go listen to Nothing Else Matters by Metallica. It's the one song by Metallica that anyone can tolerate who's not into metal music. They can listen to this and not have their head explode. I always thought they were from either Germany or wherever the Swedish chef in the Muppet Show was from, or Holland or somewhere like that. Because for one thing, one of them is called Lars or something. And for another thing, that song, Nothing Else Matters, he goes, yeah, yeah, which is a very unusual noise to make in a rock song. I know rock singers go yeah a lot. They go yeah, or they grunt. They go yeah, or something like that. We don't often hear them going yeah, yeah, a double yeah like that very fast. And that to me sounds like something you do if English was your second language. That's not a criticism. It sounds great. I like it. It's not a complaint. It's just very different, and it doesn't sound American or English. It sounds like whoever helped you translate it says, oh, there's no English language equivalent of that word. I think you should turn it into a double yeah, which is quite unusual in this English language, but I think that's the nearest translation to what you've said in your original Dutch. I think it's Dutch, maybe double Dutch or something. The original song, it's not yeah, yeah, it's something else, but there's no English language equivalent to that. Try saying yeah, yeah. Nobody's done a double yeah in English rock music. I admire the Metallica for that, so well done.
Into your head! IntoYourHead.ie.
There's a movie with Jim Carrey in it. He's raised from a child in a television set, basically, and he doesn't know he's on a television program. Whole world is watching him grow and have his first job and live in this town that he's never able to leave. He gets in a boat and he goes out to the horizon and finds that the horizon is the wall of a studio and he escapes. That's what it was like for Elvis Presley, except Elvis Presley, for some reason, didn't have the wit or wisdom to go up to the horizon and say, right, I'm going to see what's outside here. No, he just read a sign that his manager had put up. What's his name? Elvis's manager. He had some sort of weird military first name. What was it? Wasn't Sergeant? Colonel. Colonel something or other was his name. I don't know if that was his first name or if he was a self-styled colonel but not a real one, or was he a colonel in the military? I don't know. Elvis would get up to the horizon and he'd say, oh, this thing up here, there's a note stuck to the wall here that just says, Dear Elvis, beyond here lie dragons. Go back to safety. Put on your armbands and swim back to safety to the beach there, and we'll put you on some movie where you play a singer. It'll be very exciting for you. We'll put you into movies where you're playing a talented singer and you sing stuff. And he says, oh, I better go back then. This is signed by the Colonel. It says, the Colonel says, no, nothing beyond this point except dragons. And of course, he no curiosity, this Elvis. What would I want to see dragons for? You can see dragons on television any day. No, so he swam back to shore, and he wasn't even in the water. It was all metaphorical. He didn't even go anywhere. If he had swam out to the horizon, that would be further than anywhere he actually got physically in real life.
Into your head! IntoYourHead.ie.
What you used to do if you caught your child smoking, the punishment would be that you make them smoke a full packet of cigarettes, and that would put them off cigarettes for life. So if you force a child to smoke a whole pack of cigarettes nowadays, you'll be accused of being a bad parent, even if you're not a parent. You found someone else's kids smoking and you give them a pack of cigarettes, said, smoke every one of these right now in front of me. You'd be accused of being a bad parent, even though you're not their parent. You're imposing bad parenting on these kids, even though you're not their parent. The fact that you're not their parent probably makes it even worse. That's what they'd argue. You've even less business being a bad parent to these kids because you're not their parent at all. You're not authorized to parent them in any way, good or bad. Go do that to your own children, they'll say. And of course you won't do that because you're not really a bad parent. You wouldn't do that to your own children. You'd only do it to someone else's. And you do it to teach them a lesson. So you have that as a defense. Not that you should have to defend wanting to stop children from smoking. Smoking is a terrible thing. Anyone who sees a child smoking should do whatever they can to stop and prevent that. Ideally, get a time machine and go back to whenever smoking was invented. Hopefully it was invented around the same era when baby Hitler came to prominence. So you can go and kill two birds with the one stone, so to speak.
Into your head! IntoYourHead.ie.
He's a billionaire, and what's his name? I think it might be something beginning with W. I only know about him from that documentary, really. He goes on and on about his McDonald's. He denies himself his proper favourite McDonald's breakfast if his share price is down that day. That's an idiot, if you don't mind me saying so. He's presented as someone being rather more intelligent than your average billionaire. Well, no, as an idiot. You're a billionaire. Buy yourself a proper breakfast thing and don't be punishing yourself. That's ridiculous. You're a grown man. Stop it. Stop. You're going to be dead soon. You think he's in his 80s. If you've made it, you've reached the big time, you own half the country. Stop it. I tell you what you do. Get a pancakes and syrup meal, but also get a pancakes and sausage meal. If you get the pancake and sausage meal, you're only going to get 2 pancakes because they give you a sausage patty as well. You want the sausage patty as well, but you only want that because that's how you eat the pancakes less messily. You make a sandwich out of 2 of the pancakes plus the sausage patty, and then you put the syrup on the sausage patty and you eat it as a sandwich, and it's slightly less messy. So get one sausage patty. No, get 2 sausage and pancake meals, because then you'll have 2 sausage patties and 4 pancakes. You can make 2 sandwiches that way and put the syrup in on top of the thing and then eat it that way. Get whatever the f you want. You're a grown man who owns half the planet. Stop it. Stop it.
Into your head! Into your head! IntoYourHead.ie.
And he says, "Can I have a pint of your finest tap water, please?" And the barman says, "Certainly, sir." Now, the price is very low, but I have to ask you to open an account for this, and I'll tell you why. And I apologise in advance for any inconvenience, but I like to charge a fair price for my tap water. And the only way I can do that is wait until the end of the financial year when my water bill comes in. I'll get my total tap water bill and divide it by the number of customer orders for pints of tap water for that entire year. You usually end up paying a very small amount, but I won't know until the end of the financial year. So that's why I need to open up an account for you for that so I can bill you. And the cat says, "Are you aware that I'm a cat?" And the barman says, "Yes, I am. That's why I made sure to mention this, because I know opening up an account as a cat, applying for credit from a bar, is particularly complicated for you." And the cat says, "There's no need to patronise me, sir. I know all about opening up accounts. I'm a talking cat. I'm not your bog standard cat who comes in begging for milk. I'm a talking cat who's come into a bar. In fact, I've purchased many pints of alcohol off you over the years. You and I have appeared in stories and the podcast together for nigh on 20 years now. So can we stop with the shit?" And the barman says, "Okay, fair enough, fair enough. Well, here's the form, and I'll just need a copy of a couple of utility bills." And the cat says, "Certainly. What else do you need? A bank statement, probably, is it?" And the barman says, "Oh no, we don't need a bank statement. That would be ridiculous. Why would I need a bank statement off a cat to buy tap water? Don't be ridiculous. What is wrong with you? You don't live in the real world, cat. Do you know that? You don't live in the real world. You live in the magical fairy tale fantasy world where you go into bars, you talk to the barman and ask for a pint of your finest tap water. The barman asks you for a copy of a couple of utility bills. Actually, now that I think about it, the thing about going, why would I need a bank statement? That's ridiculous. Is itself ridiculous. Because if I'm going to be ridiculous enough to require 2 domestic utility bills, anyone knows anytime you're opening an account or anything, if they ask for utility bills, they're going to ask for bank statements as well. It's just de rigueur. Are you familiar with that word, Pat? De rigueur. I think it's either DERIGEUR or DERIER. I forget which.
Into your head! Into your head! IntoYourHead.ie.
I would like to see a new spin-off of Star Trek set in the HR and legal departments of Starfleet in the months and years following the announcement that has been unexpectedly and with 100% certainty proven that everybody who has ever gone in one of those transporter beam things, you know the things on Star Trek, they beam people down to the planet and they beam them back up. I'd like to see a spin-off where it's being suddenly and unexpectedly proven that every time you do that, you die. Every time you've been put through a transporter, you've died and been replaced. So I'd like the spin-off set in the Human Resources Department and the Legal Department of Starfleet in the years and months following that. I think that would be very interesting. You might say it's an office thing. That sounds rather tedious. Well, you watch a lot of Star Trek from the 80s and 90s. A lot of it is just workplace drama. We all love it. We watch people go to the canteen, talking to what's her name. They show them going to the gym, all sorts of normal day-to-day workplace shit. They even show them going to bed sometimes. They'll show Captain Picard sitting up in bed in his pyjamas reading some book. You're going to tell me that having a thing about the HR and legal department would be less interesting? I respectfully disagree. In fact, it would be so interesting and possibly so low budget, so we'd be able to go back to having 26 episodes a year, like a procedural drama or something. So be all set in an office, maybe a few visits to some courthouses. That'd be great. So let's do that.
IntoYourHead.ie.
He'd draw a little cross on your forehead, and while he's drawing it on your forehead, he'd say something along the lines of, "You are filth, scum of the earth. You're being allowed to incarnate in this flesh of yours, which you're probably going to do some filthy things over the next 70 to 90 years. And at some point, God is going to go, no, that's enough. Give that body back. You're done. And then you'll be returned to dust. You're filth, and to filth you shall return." So Pancake Tuesday came the day before Ash Wednesday. Be great excitement. Now, I know you Americans think, so what? We have pancakes every day. Literally every day we get up out of bed and someone goes, "Has anyone got the pancakes ready? Get the pancakes." And you have huge stacks of pancakes. You even call them stacks. If I eat a stack of toast, that's considered gluttony, because I consider a stack of toast to be 12 slices. If I was having 12 slices, I would only add marmalade to at most 4 to 6 of the slices, because there's such a thing as too much marmalade in your digestive system. Anyway, that's not the point here. I definitely had pancakes on Pancake Tuesday. And then the very next day, Ash Wednesday, first thing you get up in the morning, you'd go to school, and then around 10 o'clock in the morning, the whole class would be marched down to the local church. Priest would put this filth on your forehead and tell you, "These pancakes are going to be the death of you. You've only had them less than 24 hours since you gorged on them, and now look at you. You're up in front of this priest on this altar. Same place you're going to be when you're dead. When you're dead, you'll be in a box and you'll be brought up to this same altar. Or maybe in another altar thousands of miles away, because it's the 80s. You're probably going to emigrate. You go up to the altar and he dabs this filth onto your forehead. And he says, "You're filth, and to filth you shall return."
IntoYourHead.ie.
If it's coffee, you don't put a little window on it where everyone can see what you're drinking. No, coffee through a cup window. It would look like diarrhea, basically. Even though we all know coffee is delicious, but if you were looking at someone's coffee through a window in a plastic cup that you see them carrying on a train, you think, what are they drinking? That looks horrible. I wonder, is it some sort of medical treatment they have to take? That looks absolutely appalling. I'm going to take a note of the brand name that's on that and make sure never to go to that outlet or buy their stuff. The most you want to see from someone else's coffee is what it looks from the top. Because the likes of a cappuccino can look very appetizing from overhead. The problem with the smoothies is that puts a lot of pressure on people. For one thing, the people who design these drinks, this fella wants a banana and walnut and cabbage smoothie, but I'm going to have to give it to him in this see-through cup that also has our logo on it. And even if it doesn't, everyone's going to know they got it from here. They'll be walking around nearby with it. No, we can't have that. So they put colouring in it, presumably, or they limit what can be put into these things. They know you're going to be carrying that around all day, and even if you're enjoying every sip of it, you might think it's the most delicious drink you've ever had. Other passengers on your bus or people watching you walking around the mall, strolling around the mall, sipping from this cup that looks like liquidized shit. I don't know what the solution is to that. Maybe it doesn't need to be solutioned. Maybe we're all fine with that. We're all fine with people going around with these beverages that look like diarrhea. We're okay with it in our heads, maybe. I suppose. We all know intellectually it's not really diarrhea. It might become diarrhea later, but we worry about that later.
IntoYourHead.ie.
My brother had one of these Cadillacs, and they were massive. I'd be in the front passenger seat, and he'd be over there. I'd be sitting here, and he'd be over in the ensuite on the toilet there. That's how far away he was, and that's a long way. I know you can't tell how far away that is, but imagine the master bedroom. He'd be over there on the ensuite toilet, which obviously if I'm in this room and I'm pointing over there, I wouldn't be able to point if it was any closer than an arm's length, because then I'd be bending my arm. That doesn't count as pointing. Using your common sense, you can imagine that the ensuite I'm pointing out is at least 1 arm's length away. Because if you think about it, if I'm pointing at it as I'm doing now, I wouldn't be pointing at it with my arm folded. If you have something in your hand, you don't point at it. You already have it. You say, look at this thing here in my hand. I suppose you could point at it using the other hand. But still, standing there pointing at your other hand, you look ridiculous doing that. Suffice to say, if I tell you that I'm pointing at the ensuite bathroom over there, it's a good distance away from where I'm sitting. And that's how far the driver's seat was from the passenger seat in the front of that Cadillac. There's an awful lot of space for that. I think you've made your car smaller now, have you? I'm not sure. Have you made your car smaller, or has everything else just got bigger? Was I in some isolated corn utopia where everyone happened to own a 40-year-old Cadillac that was the size of a concert hall, and most normal people were driving around in a Toyota Starlet? I don't know.
Into your head! Into your head! IntoYourHead.ie.
You know those American ball games where you wear a helmet on your head and you wear a cage over your face? You wear a catcher's mitt to protect your hand in case it should come into contact with a ball. I understand you wear a thing to protect your testicles, the male players. You wear a suit of armour under your t-shirt and shorts. So I presume you wear gloves as well that you use when you're throwing something. Now, if you were to throw something from that big glove, maybe it's like a catcher's mitt, but you use it to throw. Or maybe it's the same thing. Can you throw with a catcher's mitt? I don't really care, to be perfectly honest. Let's assume you can for a moment. Let's assume that there's some sort of giant glove or mitt that you use when you're throwing, and you throw the ball out of that. If the ball doesn't leave the glove, that's not throwing. It hasn't been thrown anywhere. It's still there. And the same is true of vomiting. If it doesn't leave the mouth, that's not throwing up. Young people like to use the phrase, I just threw up in my mouth a bit, which is clearly horse shit. It's not throwing up unless it leaves the mouth. The mouth is the throwing implement.
Into your head! Into your head! IntoYourHead.ie.
This hamburger fella in Popeye, who's portrayed as a loser because he was always asking for a burger, which he would pay for next Tuesday because that's when the man is paid. That's how you start a business. That's how you get your first house. You have to borrow. It's a perfectly normal part of our economy. Now, admittedly, it gets out of control sometimes when interest rates get out of control and there are subprime mortgages and all sorts of shit. But I don't think there's ever been a subprime mortgage on a burger that you're going to pay for next Tuesday, has there? No. So leave that man alone. He's perfectly reasonable. He smelled burgers. We all know you smell a burger, the first thing you want to do is eat a burger. Someone else beside you on the bus eating a burger. It's hard to get that out of your mind. You think, I'd love a burger now. I'd gladly pay next Tuesday for it. I remember as a child thinking, are we supposed to think this man is a failure or something? And he's been very positive. He says, I'll gladly pay you. That's entrepreneurial spirit and positivity. Nowadays, you put that on television and you call it Dragon's Den or Shark Tank. You say, oh, look at these people trying to set up a business. Let's laugh at them. Let's go, ha, 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 ha. While we sit on our sofas at home, hiding from the television license inspector and cramming burgers down our gullets that have been delivered on a bicycle. Absolutely appalling. When you're craving the burger, that's the time to have it. And you get to think while you're paying it, oh, I remember that burger. Was it great? Fun. I enjoyed that. I'm quite happy to pay the bill for it now. That's great. It's not like he's asking for some huge, big credit extension. No, it's perfectly reasonable. Next Tuesday is never far away. It's never far away. Well, except at Christmas. If Christmas has the misfortune to fall on a Saturday, And then Sunday is St. Stephen's Day. Then Monday and Tuesday are both public holidays in lieu of Christmas Day and Stephen's Day, respectively. So then there's basically no Tuesday at all that week. So I suppose there's that. And no, most of the time Tuesday is not far away at all, so it's not a big thing. Leave that man alone.
Into your head! Into your head! IntoYourHead.ie.
Are you not entertained? Takes on a whole new meaning with the Gladiator sequel. And the problem there is that perhaps the fictional audience or the historical audience in the Colosseum were entertained, and the people in the crowd go, yes, we're entertained, thank you very much. We are entertained, thank you. This is great. Great entertainment. We have brought my family out for the afternoon and we watch this fella getting killed. It's great. But then there's people in the cinema as well, and they're going, is he asking us? If you're asking us, the answer is no. We're not entertained. This is absolute tripe. This is pure unmitigated drivel. I really thought that when I paid €12 to go and see a sequel to Gladiator made about 30 years after the original one, an entirely different cast that's been rewritten numerous times, including by Nick Cave, who just did it for fun and wrote Jesus into it. No, not entertained, no. If you went to see Gladiator 2, you had reasonable expectations. You said, I know damn well I'm not going to enjoy this. I'm going to watch it anyway and then tell people I'm watching it ironically. Maybe you are watching it ironically, but are you enjoying watching it ironically? No, you're not. Are you enjoying not enjoying it? No, you're not either. You might claim there's a double negative. You can say, I'm enjoying not enjoying it, not ironically or something. No, that doesn't work. Double negative is not as simple as just doing the maths and making sure you have enough negatives to make a positive. No, something actually has to come of it, and not Gladiator 3.
Into your head! Into your head! IntoYourHead.ie.
The concept of reacting to something with laughter, that's automated. Telling someone to not be amused by something makes about as much sense as instructing your cat to stop hiccuping. You might go, stop hiccuping, how dare you hiccup? Their hiccuping isn't stopping because you've instructed them to stop hiccuping or you've expressed offence at their hiccuping. No, you've given them a fright and it's automatically caused them to snap out of the hiccuping loop. We evolved the ability to hiccup, but not the ability to choose when or when not to hiccup. It's an involuntary response. And your body goes, wait a minute, this is a bit too blocked now. We better clear this shit out before he dies. And he's such an idiot, he won't be able to figure out how to manually sneeze. So we do an automatic sneeze. Because most sneezes are done on pretty much autopilot. You can kind of hold them back sometimes, but no, they're pretty much automatic. Nobody goes, you know what I could do with right now? A good long series of sneezes. I think I'll wait till I'm in the bathroom and then I'll start sneezing. And that'll do me a world of good. No, as far as I know, you can't do that.
Into your head! IntoYourHead.ie.
Tom Hanks, spoiler alert, he finally gets off the island and then he goes home to his wife. His wife says, oh, you're too late, I got married again. Do you want to come in for a cup of tea and meet my 8 children who I've had in the last 4 years? And oh yes, all your cats are dead as well, Tom Hanks's character. You're into dogs now. I didn't do it out of disrespect. My heart was broken after you went missing, so we started having dogs instead. Our plan is to move to the country and get a farm and have sheep. So we've already got 3 sheepdogs in line with that plan. But we're still living in this suburban house in which I used to live with you, Tom Hanks's character, before you went to the desert island. There's all sorts of problems with selling off the house and stuff. So all you can do is wait.
Into your head! IntoYourHead.ie.
They don't like to spray customers directly. It's probably insurance issues involved with that. You can't just spray things at people. No. You spray it into the air and then you let them know you can walk through that air at your own risk. Make it clear that it's your choice. You're doing it voluntarily. Nobody is pushing you. What you're not allowed to do is then push the customer towards the mist to test it. That could cause legal problems. If for some reason they have an accident while sniffing the perfume, you've pushed them into that. So, you don't do that. You spray it into the air beside them and you allow them to voluntarily walk through it. And then they sniff it as they walk through. And they say, oh, that's interesting. That's interesting air. That's interesting air. How much air can you fill with this as a matter of interest? Is it like the stuff you spray around your cat litter trays when you're not quite ready to change them? You need to buy yourself another hour, so you spray the general area. Is it like that? They'll say, no, it's not like that at all. And you'll say, how would you know? You're a 19-year-old sales assistant. You don't have cats. You probably don't have a house. You probably either live with your parents or with 12 students in some dormitory. How in the name of Christ would you know whether that's like that or not like that? You've no experience of owning or managing a cat bathroom. And they'll say, that's true, although I am training to be a vet. This is my night job, I'm training to be a vet, so we do use litter trays down at the veterinary surgery because a lot of the less well cats have to stay overnight, so there is that. And of course you'll say to that, you say, oh, I suppose that's true. That's true, you have a point there. I never thought of that. Well, why would I? Why would I know that you're training to be a vet? And they'll say, because I literally just told you. And we have this conversation every time you come here. It's getting ridiculous. I'm going to spray this into the air now. Whether you want to walk through it or not is your choice. Now, that adds an extra problem. Since you can't push someone into the vapour that you've sprayed, when you spray the perfume into the air for the customer to sample, and another customer unknowingly walks through that area and experiences that, does that cause problems for you too? Maybe they don't want that smell on them. I certainly wouldn't.
Into your head! IntoYourHead.ie.
They do it in Criminal Minds as well. They jump into this private jet every week. This fella Hutch, who's the boss, he goes, wheels up in 15, or wheels up in 10, or wheels up in 30. It's never explained exactly what that means. It's supposed to mean something along the lines of be on the plane in 15 minutes. Or do you have an airport right outside the office? That seems unlikely. Perhaps it means the wheels on your wheelie suitcase should be up off the ground in 15 minutes, and that we're leaving here then. But that's not how a wheelie case works, is it? I haven't done a lot of business travel. But these wheelie suitcases, you see them on The Apprentice a lot. They get these overnight little wheelie suitcases. What will say, wheels up in 15. And I imagine he means have your suitcases ready to go and then you get up and start walking towards the door with your suitcase behind you. But when you do that, the wheels don't go up. Your suitcase is standing upright on its two wheels on the floor and you start to move to tow it. So you have two wheels on one side. The other side of the wheelie suitcase goes up. The wheels stay on the ground. So that's not wheels up. That's wheels staying exactly where they are and just start moving. So that's not wheels up. So maybe that's not what he means. Maybe it means the wheels on the airplane will go up. The landing gear will go up 15 minutes from now, which apart from being quite fast, I don't see how he can dictate that or control that. Is he in charge of the pilots? Does he tell the pilots when they can take off, when it's safe to go? Does he give them clearance to go out onto the main runway, regardless of whether or not there's a plane coming down? I'm seeing enough episodes of air crash investigation to know that that's a terrible idea and also probably highly illegal.
Into your head! IntoYourHead.ie.